Jefferson's emphasis on building relationships between people and their governments, rather than building systems of control.
Natural rights theorists favored active citizenship through individual interests, a phenomenon in early American society that Alex de Tocqueville witnessed and acknowledged as enlightened self-interest. Although discussed by de Tocqueville, this idea is also embodied in Voltaire's letters concerning the English nation, which states, "It is love of self that encourages love of others. It is through our mutual needs that we are useful to the human race."
George Washington's farewell address exemplifies the connection between classical Republican and natural rights philosophies in promoting the unity of government for the success of the individual and their community. Both philosophies stress the need for active participation in the community and an understanding of the role of an individual through education and an emphasis on the preparation for citizenship.
In natural rights philosophy, a strong education is necessary in order to empower the individual to secure their inalienable rights against any type of corrupt government or law. As John Locke stated, the only defense against the world is through knowledge of it. The Umbrella Revolution that occurred in Hong Kong, China demonstrates the pertinence of a strong education. What began with a student-run activist group eventually led to thousands of protesters who viewed China's rejection of full democracy as an infringement on their right to reform their government.
Education is essential from the classical Republican point of view for instilling morals on the individuals of a society in order that the selfish nature of man does not overcome the collective pursuit of the common good. Education also provided individuals with a means of developing their unique talents so that they may benefit society later on. In the 1981 case Plyler v. Doe, the Supreme Court ruled against the state statute that denied funding for education to the children of unauthorized immigrants, thus promoting the classical Republican ideal of allowing individuals to foster their unique talents so that they may later use them to benefit society.
In Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail, he expressed the need for balanced government to fit the needs of citizens by acknowledging that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This idea is supported by the preamble through its views on maintaining domestic tranquility and securing the blessings of liberty. Thank you.
What civic virtues are important for parents to have today?
I think showing an interest in their government in the eyes of their kids, because if the kids do not see their parents are taking an active role in government, they may think that that's cool because they may think, or they may view their parents as a role model, and they may think, oh, I want to be like them, and they didn't care about government, so I'm not going to care about government either.
John Locke once said, "The only protection against the world is through knowledge of it." He believed that people should have knowledge of their own system in which they live under. So parents should have an understanding of the government in which they live.
I would argue with my colleague Brandon that there's only so much that a parent can teach their children, and that while education is very important to active citizenry, experience is also highly important. So I would say that letting children go out and experience a variety of different interests, from like ballet to football, would help promote active citizenry and education through experience.
In your direct testimony, all of you focused on the importance of education. Why was it that the founders, at least in the Constitution, didn't then I'd say, take a little more affirmative action, and excuse the phrase, but take more affirmative steps to ensure that their citizenry was educated?
Well, democracy was a pretty new and radical idea for the founders. Jefferson wrote in a letter to one of his colleagues that they had been so entrapped in the wrongdoings of a monarchy that everything seemed like democracy, or everything seemed like republicanism. And so I think that just trying to find a way to represent citizens was the priority at the time, rather than making sure that they were educated. I think a lot of people were naturally educated because they cared about creating a representative government that would work for them.
As John Adams said, liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge among the people. And while we were building the country, there were a lot of rights that were given to people, and that was kind of new around the world, and so it was important that those rights would be protected in the new country.
What's more important? And what is stressed more in the Constitution? Let me rephrase that. What's more stressed in the Constitution, individual rights and common good, and why?
Wait, what was the second half of that question?
What is more stressed, individual rights and common good, or common good? And then the question is, why did they stress one over the other?
Do you mean individual rights or common good?
Individual rights or common good, yes, sorry. I don't articulate that very well.
Found in our Constitution is many specific natural rights that promote specifics such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness or property, as John Locke once said. And these specifications are actually more towards natural rights point of view because eventually they will allow for a promotion of common good.
I would argue that the Constitution is mostly about the balancing of power so that individual rights aren't taken over by mob rule or the majority, but at the same time that individual rights can be expressed so that they aren't imposed on. It's all about the balance of doing what's best for the common good while promoting individualism.
At what point is, or I guess in what ways can individualism then affect the common good and harm the common good?
Well, if you're so self-absorbed as an individual, you don't feel the need to, as an individual, devote your time or your money into helping the community. For example, with voting turnout today is very low because many people think that they don't have to take the time out of their own day to go vote and put in their opinion, maybe because they think that their opinion as a singular vote won't matter, or because they just don't want to take the time out of their busy day to go what they feel is important in government.
I'm going to back us back up to the education, and this also goes to this individual rights and common good. The idea of affirmative action that was percolating there for a minute. Do you find this to be more of a natural rights or classical republicanism perspective, the idea of affirmative action? And how do you feel that fits in with like this intent of the founders in their writing of the Constitution?
Well, I think it's more of an individual rights thing because affirmative action is mostly directed toward minorities who may not have had the same advantages as other people. So it's really trying to get them more involved in education because they hadn't had that opportunity in past historical examples, like slavery. Slaves weren't educated. Now they have a greater opportunity to get into higher places of education.
Counterpoint to that would be that by representing minorities more in our government, you're benefiting the common good by expressing new ideas and diversity within a culture.
Good, we'll go ahead and stop there. Go ahead. Rich, you gonna feedback?
Sure, yeah. Really great job to all four of you.